nothing feels special anymore. It's all just iPhone or iPhone clone, and obviously clones don't feel special, so...
Not even nothing the phone company feels special.
Not even nothing. Nothing is so worth nothing these days. I already mentioned in the last episode that the Garden of Cares has run a little dry. Well, guess what? It's after Labor Day. Harvesting season's over. There is 100% no cares left in that garden right now.
I don't know. Harvesting season hasn't really started yet in my area. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf, and, Tabby just responded. Conveniently? What's this? Hey, right now I'm washing my car because of a dirt road incident. You guys can start with that. Not sure if he's joining.
Alright, that's TabbyCat406, our other hoe.
He'll probably be joining later tonight. He's
Alright,
just
that'll
at the
be
car
excellent.
wash right now.
Alright, that'll be... I mean, we all have to go to the car wash sometimes, so that's fine. But shall I go ahead and get started with our first topic, which is that... Okay, so we discussed on this show about how the second ever iOS device to be unofficially patched to its to be on its maximum official iOS version is the iPad. Hang on, let me grab it. The iPad 6th generation, which has been patched to iPadOS 18 successfully. We discussed that on my show. And the only other iOS device to ever achieve that feat before was the iPod Touch 4th generation on iOS 7, because it has the same internals as it has the same A4 chip as the iPhone 4, but somebody, hang on, it's in this stack. So, no, it's the 2nd generation. That's the 3rd generation, okay. What I'm trying to get at is that somebody has managed to... I'll actually look up the tweet right now, but I just saw a tweet on my feed that somebody is managing to actually get iOS 6 working on the iPod Touch 3rd generation. Which, granted, it was 13 years too late, but still better than nothing.
Yeah, I suppose. It's like trying to get my iPhone XS Max to run iOS 26. That ain't happening anytime soon.
Yeah, especially because it's a lot harder to exploit that. So, okay, so it's a developer goes by the name of Nyan Satan or John, but Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and even activation are now working on his iOS 6 iPod Touch 3rd generation, but that's still a tether downgrade at the moment, so he has to work on an untether, or making that untether, but that will be... I probably won't do that, but at the same time, that's cool. Not gonna lie. Because the iPod Touch 3rd generation wasn't really particularly slow or anything on iOS 3, or iOS 5, excuse me. It was just that Apple dropped it for some reason. Even though it had more RAM than the iPhone 3GS, I think, but...
Yeah, that's interesting. Funny enough, it was actually sometime this week. I'm not sure what jogged it, but I was thinking about how a lot of people have... no, I keep bringing up the whole Epic versus Apple lawsuit thing, but I think in my whole video where I discussed the whole thing and my thoughts on that, I brought up that the Apple modding community exists, like the jailbreak community. And the reason why it exists and why people do it is, well, for one, they're either frustrated and want to make the change for themselves, but also another reason why people do it is just for the challenge and the fun of it. Because, trying to mod an Android device, that's fairly easy considering that Android was literally built to be modded and changed.
But iOS, on the other hand, because it was not built for that, and okay, now granted, I make jailbreaking seem easy on my tutorials because I only jailbreak old devices where the methods have long since been figured out, but nowadays...
But even then, you still run into compatibility issues.
What compatibility issues?
Just certain software's not working for some devices and various things like that.
Yeah, like you have to be careful about what jailbreaking software you use for which iOS version. But nowadays, of course, it's so much harder because Apple's locked it down. They've effectively made the jailbreaking community so much stronger. Or I mean, they have weakened it, but they've also made it to be a lot more passionate. Because if you think about these jailbreaks for certain iOS versions, like I think iOS 16 has a jailbreak. Don't know if I think 17 does. I'm not sure if 18 does yet, but it takes quite a while for these jailbreaks to come out.
Yeah. But I mean, also, like, I picture, like, Dodge Dude 1, for example. That's the guy I've been getting all of my macOS patchers from until he stopped making them. Right now, he's mostly focused on hardware modding, like upgrading the storage in Apple Silicon Mac, since, well, that's soldered down, something that Apple doesn't allow you to do, or upgrading memory modules. It is a real challenge to do that. But as I watch the guy on YouTube modding this stuff, changing the storage, changing the RAM, he's having so much fun doing it. And I can see why it's a cool skill that hardly anybody has. And it's risky, but that's where the fun comes from.
Exactly. Like, you're not going to get any this podcast is now it's easier because I've been doing it for so long, but it was a hard thing to start, and yet we have fun doing it because it's a challenge. And did you see his video? And did you see DOS Do 1's video where he managed to effectively replicate a 2G cell tower so that he could activate his first generation iPhone on cell service?
Are you serious?
Yes. Like,
that is cool.
Like, you can do that with, granted, T-Mobile still has some 2G towers up that you can still use, as apparently they're just cutting back and like they're not maintaining them anymore. They still have some 2G towers, but no, you can someday. In fact, this might be the next thing I buy after I upgrade all my tech. I'm awfully tempted to buy a network replicator so I can replicate my own 2G and 3G networks. Because think of how cool that would be.
Yeah.
Think of the content I could get out. Think of Think of all the videos I can make about that. Not that many, but
yeah. Every time I think about the Apple modding community now, I think of how this lawsuit is just going to take so much of the fun out of it. Because like everyone they want the modding Apple products to be super easy, but it's like, if it's easy, then where's the fun? Where's the challenge? It's like people these days don't understand that the challenge is where the fun comes from. It's like, why do games have rules?
Exactly. Most people should understand this. Board games have, Monopoly. You've played Monopoly before, right?
Oh yeah, I just won a game of Monopoly last weekend, actually.
Oh yeah, Monopoly has rules. Like, if you could get a go to jail card, you go to jail in Monopoly. At least it's just a Monopoly.
Yeah,
you could get
that's the thing. The rules are what makes the game fun. It's like, does everyone need to watch that episode of Bluey to figure this out? You shouldn't have to.
No, I've never really watched
I kid
Bluey,
you not,
so
there literally is a Bluey episode about that. But it's like,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's why the rules in the games exist. They're there to make the game fun. And yeah, the challenge of modding Apple products, that's the fun part for all of these the Apple modding community, be it jailbreaking, be it soldering and desoldering chips to upgrade storage or RAM or whatever it may be. I mean,
I would love to learn how to do that. Once I have more money to actually risk that, but
yeah. Well, you got plenty of devices you can test that with, but for me at least, I mean, getting a soldering kit is not that expensive. And not gonna lie, there are so many times where I actually want to try doing it. It's just, when I need something professionally done, I go to my grandpa to do it since he's the real tech whiz. But, I mean, I have wanted to learn how to solder because I don't know. I might have been able to just do a GPU swap instead of having to replace the entire logic board on my 2009 iMac. But then again, actually, it could have used a new logic board too, considering that one of my USB ports was dead, and that got fixed. So
that would have been a nice solution, but that's just the point of the mine community. But in other news, shall I move on to our next topic that is actually very fascinating?
It's YouTube related. Oh, but before we do that, I forgot to add this in. It's been a while, but I have an Idiot Award nominee.
Oh! What's your idiot? I don't have any, but please.
That's a first. I have the Idiot Award and he doesn't. All right, let me pull it up. So this is on my 13 Pro Max review where I basically said goodbye to it. Let's see. Show them all up. All right. So this one there's 3 of them from the user Batarai, I think.
I don't typically like to give users' names away when we talk about those comments. Just because
they are displayed publicly on the internet.
That's valid. So
what doesn't matter. Anywho, send it to me. I love that phone.
You already sent it into. He'll have to ask whatever store you traded that into.
I just mailed it to somewhere in Tennessee, I think. I don't know. AT&T sent me a shipping label that I think sent it to Tennessee or Kentucky, somewhere around there. I don't know.
Probably Tennessee because they have the Batman building in Nashville, which its nickname is the Batman building because it looks like its ears. But yeah, that's
oh really?
AT&T has Have you never heard of the Batman building?
No. I'm a tech enthusiast, not a cell company enthusiast.
That is cell company is tech.
Okay, that's a subset of tech I don't pay that much attention to, but yeah. So yeah, in that case, it probably went to Nashville then. So, but yeah, I don't have any more. It's gone. So. Oh, then he posts another comment asking again, can he have the phone? He wants the phone so badly. It's like, dude, acting like a spoiled little child doesn't yield you positive results.
Spoiled little children don't. I mean, some spoiled little children do, but little kids that ask for everything often don't get it.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Did he? Oh, wait, yeah, he did use the magic word, but even still, the phone's gone. I posted the video after I had already mailed the phone back.
And didn't you say the phone was gone in that video?
I mentioned how many times that I was trading it in back to AT&T.
So in other words, he didn't watch the video.
Which is funny, because if you read his final comment, I love how Alpha De Wolf diddy everything on this video. Yes, he put an extra I on that. I wonder who that might be.
Oh, okay, hang on. I'll have to look at that text to understand that full context, because...
So, here's the thing. In the description of all my videos, I have a credit section. Writer, camera operator, host, editor.
Oh, yeah.
That type of stuff. I never once said my actual name in the video. Well, my stage name at least, because that's that. Not even Alpha DeWolf is my actual name. Both you and Tabby know that.
So that guy follows you.
I don't think so. I've never seen that commenter before.
Or, I mean, that guy might just watch your videos and not
he
comment.
did do enough to pay attention. He did enough to read the description.
So, that's a little bit odd.
Yeah, how he wouldn't watch the video, but he read the description instead.
I mean, that's a first. I mean, not watching the video is one of the steps I mentioned in my tutorial on how to write YouTube comment, and
yeah,
and even Techmo mentioned that in his parody, which Actually, Tecmo is where I got the inspiration to do that from.
Yeah, so that is my latest Idiot Award. And for reference for anyone who's watching, and I'm probably going to bring this up in my next video, I have no plans on doing giveaways in the near-term future. I've already been taking a break from YouTube as is. Well, maybe that's not the right way to put it. It's more like I've drastically reduced my upload schedule to focus on other things, which it's been feeling good since I've done that. Not gonna lie, I felt really good doing that. It's actually allowed me to get back to writing my book that I haven't touched in like 4 years or something like that.
That's cool.
So, yeah, the break's going well for me. It's doing me good. It's doing real bad numbers on the Drive channel, unfortunately. The Drive channel is not happy with my break at all. But yeah, thanks for the support on the Gadgets channel, at least. That's... you guys are insane. So... But, yeah, I do not plan on doing giveaways in the near-term future, and that's because I don't have a lot of money to begin with, okay? Why do you think I traded in the phone?
Same.
It's to get a discount on this one.
I also don't have a lot of money, and even so, like, why am I gonna... And even so, it's like selling something for less than it's worth, effectively, because you know it's not going to... Because why would I give away one of my devices when it's worth money?
Because, yeah, that phone was effectively a $1,200 phone. $1,250, something like that. Trading that in, apparently it was worth like $850-ish. So, if anything, that gives me such a large discount on this, where in the end I'm spending $400 to $500 on this thing.
That's very reasonable.
Yeah, it's ultimately the reason why I still stick with AT&T and do their trade-in program. I would love to switch to Mint Mobile, but honestly, in my situation right now, T-Mobile towers are not a thing up here, which means you'd have to roam if you were on Mint Mobile, and that means you're deprioritized, which, considering the internet speeds we get up here, period, you really don't want to be deprioritized. Trust me. So that's a big reason why I'm sticking with AT&T, and now that we've actually did some account shuffling and such, I've got an even bigger discount on my AT&T plan.
Wow.
So my bill used to be $43 a month. That's including my unlimited plan plus phone payments. It's now been reduced to $33 a month.
Extra $10 a month, that's not bad.
For unlimited data and this. And once this is fully paid off, because, I mean, given the state in which how tech is moving forward, honestly, I might still be using this after 3 years. I don't know, but I might be. Then that would reduce my phone bill to $20 a month. 20 or 25, I don't remember the exact price. Either way, that's when my bill is that low with AT&T already, thanks to taking advantage of a bunch of discounts due to family stuff and all that. And plus, I'm effectively buying these phones for $500. How do you argue against that?
You don't. I don't. Well, first of all, I don't like to make payments on my phone. I don't like to do financing on stuff if I don't have to. And for phones, for tech, I generally don't do For tech, I don't do financing because first of all, my parents don't let me do that, and secondly, it's cheaper to pay without financing. So that's why I don't. So that's why I don't do it.
Except in this case.
I meant like you don't have to pay interest.
Okay, yeah, true. But, I mean, even after interest and such, again, after all said and done, this is going to cost me $500. That's like $800 off regular retail price. How do you not?
Also, it's just less money I have to worry about paying every month, so it's just handier for me to not finance. But still, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not too bad.
Yeah, I typically would recommend against it unless you can actually get a better deal. Like, the reason why I'm doing it instead of paying outright, because I would totally prefer to pay this thing outright so that way I'm not locked into any contracts. That's the one annoying thing
Can't,
about doing it the way I'm doing it. It's the contract.
can't you just pay it all up front anyway? Just buy your contract. Like
No.
that's what I did with my iPhone 14 Pro.
If I were to pay the $500 for the whole thing up front, that effectively removes my deal, because the way it works is I pay a portion, AT&T also pays a portion. So if I were to pay the whole thing off, well, AT&T hasn't made the rest of their payments. So I'd be paying, if I were to pay the full thing under the financing thing, like say the next month, I'm effectively paying full price for this again. So, yeah, that's the one annoying thing. It's the whole contract situation. But it's like, considering how fast tech has been moving as of late, and I don't know, I've been
Especially
learning
with
that I
Apple's
don't need to
internal
upgrade my phone as
emails.
often. Yeah, it's like 3 years. I think that's good enough. I don't think I can complain too much. So, and because doing this allows me to pay a heck of a lot less for the device in the first place, it's like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's why I'm doing it. But if I had the opportunity where I don't need to lock myself in a contract and pay in full, I would. It's just financially that does not make sense. The only time where you'd want to finance then, where you're not getting a better deal, is where you're gonna have to pay interest on top of the full price. It's if you actually legit need the product to make money, for example, because in that case the return on your investment will help pay that interest off. So yeah, the best case scenario is business expense. If you absolutely need this tool to make money, but you don't have the money up front, that would be a good reason to finance a business expense. It's to actually make money. Then the other reason, I thought there was another reason I was trying to, what was it? Oh, well. Yeah, the only other reason why I'd finance, and I'm currently doing it right now, it's Stardust. It's my car.
Makes sense for a car.
I need a car to get places. I mean, well, yeah, I could say I technically made money with the car. I have used it for a few business-related things.
Well, also, I mean, you use your car to get to work, so...
that is important, yeah.
You do. So you do use your car to make money, so...
Yeah, I wish that could mean, I could use it as a tax write-off, but no, that's not how it works, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those are really the only two reasons why I think I'd do some financing, especially if interest is on top of it. Well, I guess, yeah, there's the total three reasons. One, it somehow manages to work out better to finance than just paying up front, like the AT&T situation for me. Two is it's a business expense that you absolutely need to make money off of. And then three, I need a car or a house. Like, a house is basically guaranteed you're going to need to finance a house, or I guess the technical term in the space is mortgage.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a guarantee. Because with prices in the housing market right now, there is no way you can pay up front for a house. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's effectively what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to save up money so I can make a nice, decent, solid down payment on a property and avoid mortgage insurance. But yeah, just so you guys know, this is not financial advice. I should point that out.
That's a very valid point to make.
Yeah, I am not a financial advisor. I've said this on the internet how many times now. The only professional I claim to be is a professional idiot. Do not take my word for it, okay? Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. In fact, if I were, I'd probably be a very bad one, and I'd have lawsuits up the wazoo.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're not a financial advisor. But shall I move on to YouTube hype now?
Yeah, sorry for the side
tangent.
tangent. It's just I had to get that in. All right, what's YouTube hype?
So YouTube hype is effectively a feature where on a YouTube video for 3 videos a week that you watch, you can, and if the channel has under 200,000 subscribers, I think, you can effectively go to a video, and then there's a little option after you watch it where you can hype it.
So is that something, I don't know, maybe I could take advantage of in any way, shape, or form?
If people choose to hype your videos, then they'll effectively prioritize them in the algorithm.
If only people found my videos that interesting in the first place.
Some people do.
I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to end up being another system that will easily be abused and such.
Yeah, same.
Because it's like, YouTube's algorithm is obviously going to first spit out those videos. So you're, in a sense, you're still subject to whatever the algorithm says. And at least for creators like me, the algorithm absolutely sucks.
Exactly. For their algorithm is still going to suggest, for like, people are going to rig the hype clips to be no, not the hype clips in the show, the hype videos to be, this could be toilet brain rot.
Oh gosh.
Or have you heard of the 6-7 meme?
Do I want to?
So apparently there's a song that came out, I don't know, it's trending on TikTok, but it used the word 6-7, and now everybody at my school is saying 6-7. It's so stupid, I know.
Dude, I'm dealing with stupid K-pop songs on the radio now. It's from that one movie.
This is
has
why I don't
taken off and spread like wildfire. It is.
What K-pop songs? Because I haven't heard of any.
You remember what I mentioned a couple months ago about my sisters found a new movie called K-pop Demon Hunters or something like that?
Yes, I do sadly remember that.
That movie has taken off like you would not believe.
I don't, because I've literally never, I mean, I've only heard about that from you, but I also don't follow pop culture, so.
It was just yesterday I heard one of the songs from that movie on Walmart's radio.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I heard one of Sabrina Carpenter's new songs playing at Jersey Mike's, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie is taking off in stupid popularity. I can't even go to family events without the rest of the younger kids doing karaoke to that stuff anymore.
I understand that. Would drive me nuts for, I mean, the problem is that it's not, now I haven't listened to it, so I guess there's that, but I mean, I know what's going to be, and I know it's going to be not great music, and there's a reason why I don't listen to mainstream pop and rap music.
Dude, people really don't appreciate real good music these days.
No, no, no. I don't know. I mean, I know some people that do, but not that many.
So, but yeah, that's another thing that people are going to probably hype up. It's all that. It's all the crappy pop music and the stupid stunt videos and nothing educational or entertainment like what I have to offer.
Well, that's that's the problem when we live in the brain rot age.
Yeah. Maybe I should have found a way to set off my airbag in my last video. Then that would have probably upped the views.
It's probably a good thing that you did not set off the airbag.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you watch the end of that video, I mentioned that airbags are a pyrotechnic, and those are not things you want to be messing with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, part of me debated accidentally setting up. Well, accidentally, I'd actually have to do it on purpose. Part of me debated accidentally setting off the airbag just for the clicks and the such. Oh, imagine the title of the thumbnail.
I'm glad you didn't do that just because that would be. I mean, people, you doing it on purpose. I mean, you would still know that you did it on purpose to get views.
Yeah. I mean, take ElectroBoom for example. For information, all of the stunts that he does on his channel, and they all involve him shocking himself with some high-power device. Those are all stunts. He actually knows what he's doing to pull those stunts off without shocking himself to death. But boy, does he know how to do it while looking like a complete idiot at the same time.
Yeah, he's one of those idiots that's actually not an idiot at all.
Yeah, he has a degree in electrical engineering. He legit actually knows what he's doing. I mean, how do you think he's able to just attach two live wires, plug it into a wall outlet, and connect the other end to an electric guitar and strum it without killing himself?
Oh. I've never watched
Or the heated seat thing. But oh, he is hilarious. If you want to study more electricity, he is the guy to watch. He is absolutely hilarious. His videos are very educational and entertaining at the same time. And you get to watch him shock himself all the time.
Does he mention how
I also learned... Oh, I was going to say, there's one important thing that I learned from him when it comes to checking outlets. Make sure, when you're taking a multimeter to your electrical outlets, you do not have the thing set to measure amps.
Let me guess. If you set it to measure amps, that'll cause a fire.
Well, not exactly. It'll just pull full power from the outlet and trip the breaker. But at the same time, you get a loud explosion and a big shock.
Does he actually tell his audience? Does he mention in his videos about how he fakes the shocks?
No, that's the thing. He never actually tells people how he fakes there are some scenarios where he actually really does get shocked. But I mean, most of them he really does actually get shocked. It's just he finds I don't know his tricks to not actually killing himself in the process. He's found a way to legit shock himself while protecting himself from the shocks at the same. I don't know how he does it. It's interesting. It's fascinating though, and I guess it's kind of a good thing for him, at least in the sense that it's a trade secret in a sense that he knows how to shock himself safely. Otherwise, people would be doing it on the internet too, and well, then that ruins some of the special parts of his videos.
Also,
he does advertise, do not try to pull any of these stunts off. You will kill yourself if you do.
That's good to know. But...
If anything, it also is also not telling people how he does it is a good thing too, because that will probably influence people to actually try the experiment. And if something goes wrong, well, it's kind of like, oh, there's a reason there's no tutorial on the internet for how to build a nuclear bomb.
So the makers of the tutorial can't be held liable.
Yeah, it's a liability thing too. But if you actually want to learn more about electricity, search ElectroBoom. The guy is absolutely hilarious.
All right, well, shall I move on to our next topic?
Yep, I'd say so.
So, Google Translate Language Learn is a new alternative to Duolingo.
Let me guess, powered by Gemini?
Let me check. I'm sure it is, but...
I would not be shocked if it wasn't. Because, if that's the case, then add that to the list of useless things Google's come out with.
Yep, it's powered by Gemini.
All right, add that to the list of useless things Google's come out with.
Shall I move on to our next topic? Because I think we can all agree that that's useless.
Yeah, right, not only is there an Apple event coming this September, did Samsung officially unpack, or are they still preparing to unpack?
Samsung is still preparing to unpack. They don't usually do keynotes in September, and they are releasing their Fold series, so I don't know what they're doing this time, but...
Yeah, it's a bit interesting, because they typically do it in August, and at least back when the Note was worth anything, that's when they released the Note. The S series was in January or February, and the Note was in August.
And then their earlier Notes were in September.
So...
But they probably
Dude, I miss the Note so much.
Same.
I've actually thought about buying a Note off of eBay because I found some Note 10 Pluses, which was the start. The special thing for that phone, I think, was that marks the beginning of Samsung's downfall from grace.
Well, Note 10 Plus is probably pretty affordable now.
Well, it's like $230 for a sealed box, so...
I would have
avoided those. For the Note 10 Plus. So...
Because sealed old devices often have a tendency to be scams. Especially on eBay.
But, the Note 10 was very special, marking Samsung's beginning of downfall from grace, because that phone... removed the headphone jack, started removing more features from the base model, like the micro SD card slot, if I recall. That was a thing that they removed. That base phone did not have a 1440p panel. That was 1080p only.
A heart rate sensor.
Yep, that too. It removed that. Yeah, that phone was the beginning of Samsung removing things from their flagships, and that's like, What are they doing? It's like, the point of the Samsung flagship was it was supposed to do everything. Literally. Yeah, it's like this Galaxy S7. I thought this was way cooler than the iPhone 6 or the iPhone 7 at the time, because this had a heart rate sensor, this had a built-in fingerprint scanner. This still had the headphone jack. It had wireless charging. A micro SD card slot. I'm like, wow, this thing's way ahead of the iPhone at the time.
If only that little you knew what the Samsung would turn into a decade
Oh
later.
yeah. No, yeah. Little me would be extremely disappointed in Samsung today.
I don't know what the little me would think about the tech industry today.
I had a sense years ago that after the iPhone 10 and such, it was about to get stale, but not immediately. Because I mean, when the iPhone 10 made its jump, I'm like, wow, this jumped so far into the future. How do you top this thing? And then it turned out the next year, oh, the 10s Max. That's how they did it, and that's the phone I ended up buying. And since then, yeah, it's how do you top this thing? I don't know. I'd argue in a sense they still haven't really topped it.
I mean, all they need to do is just actually bother to cram as many features as possible into a phone.
Yeah.
Like, they need to stop doing what... They need to stop adding just enough features that people will keep buying. Which they literally put in internal emails. As I did watch Apple Explain video about that.
What did you think?
That was such a good video.
And again, it came from Apple Explained, of all people.
I think at this point, I mean, everybody's getting mad at Apple at this point.
Yeah, even the Apple sheep himself, I can tell he's so tired with all of these shareholder business decisions and the AI BS.
I mean, Tim Cook stated that, I mean, Greg for Apple even said that Tim Cook actually meets with investors. Steve Jobs never did that. He just prioritized products.
And that's the thing. When you prioritize the thing that people actually care about, the products, you get happy customers. Happy customers mean loyal customers, customers that are likely to come back to you in the future. And if that's the case, your profits are typically going to be pretty darn okay. If anything, they'll just keep growing. And that alone is enough to keep shareholders happy.
But no, Apple...
You think shareholders know what they actually want from the space?
No.
I'll give you a hint. When it comes to the actual technology itself, they don't care. They don't give a crap. All they care about is, does it make the money? And that honestly has to be Tim's biggest fault. He's done a great job at growing the company since, but... Dude, I feel like so many companies need to trade CEOs at this point. My goodness. I was talking about a couple episodes ago, Tesla needs to get rid of Elon because he's legit actually hurting the company. And then, I don't know, at this point, Tim's kind of done what he's needed to do. He's grown and matured the company, but at this point, trying to keep things steady and afloat, that's not working anymore.
I mean, the reason why I don't think Tim Cook, I know Tim Cook is inevitably going to have to get replaced someday because he's just getting older, but at the same time, Apple just needs a completely different shakeup in leadership. Like, they need to have somebody who's very different, which is not the vibe I'm getting from John Turnus, because the problem is obviously that Apple's current leadership right now, all they care about is just being lazy. So they really need to rethink their whole company.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many videos on the internet talking about how, John Turnus, he's the guy in charge of hardware right now. Well, they're doing some amazing stuff in the hardware department. How about just have John Turnus be the CEO? It's like, do you have any idea how big of a role CEO is and how dramatically different it is?
Yes. And furthermore, I mean, the hardware team is led by John Turnus. Gee, let me check. He created this thing. You want more of these?
Yeah.
Camera bumps.
This atrocity. He is, albeit his hardware engineering, the engineering aspect, it's pretty solid. But Apple's not just, engineering solutions. And this is where a lot of my frustration comes in. Such a large part of them was based on design. Why do you think I liked the iPhone XS Max so much? So much to the point where I held onto that phone for so long until Apple decided to stop supporting its software.
Hang on, I'm trying to find...
It wasn't just an engineering marvel. It was also a piece of artwork at the same time. This, to me, this ain't it. This ain't art. Everything designed on it is functional in a sense, but there's no art. There's no design. There's no character put into this thing. It just feels like a piece of tech that I don't necessarily think everyone in that department exactly cared about. It's almost what happened with Samsung. The reason why I felt like they stopped caring was they didn't bother to figure out how to integrate everything they possibly can into their phones anymore, like they did with the S5, the S7, the S8, the S9, the S10. The Note series.
It's all Note 10, 20.
Well, the S20 was also a downfall, a fall from grace too, but it all started with the Note 10. The Note 10 was what started the downfall. And while Samsung, no, they weren't exactly design artists. Although I don't know about you, but I think the S7 is one of the best looking Android phones out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's my opinion. No, Samsung used to actually have really great and unique designs. Like, if we're just talking aesthetics, you could easily pick a Samsung out from the crowd. And they looked good. Especially when the S8 and the S9s came out. With that new infinity edge-to-edge display. That thing was such a good looker.
Whatever happened to edge-to-edge displays again?
Yeah, now we're all rocking hole punches, and we no longer have the curved screen edges anymore. Which I am never going to forgive the tech community for trying to ban.
I understand, but maybe it's up to us to bring back curved bezels.
Yeah, 20 just the 2015 to 2020 era. Maybe a little earlier than 2020, but still, that general era was a real exciting time to watch these smartphone makers compete in design, in feature set, in identity. But ever since the iPhone X came out and stepped so far into the future, all of our Android manufacturers, they lost their identities. They instead chased after what they thought people... They thought, the iPhone X, that's what we got to strive for. That's what we got to copy and base ourselves entirely off of.
Even though they didn't have to, because a lot of people still hated the iPhone X when it was new for, its high price.
Yeah. I mean, I even mocked it for its high price once upon a time, back when it came out. I'm like, $1,000 for a smartphone? What? And it's like, okay, Samsung's get up there, but Samsungs are cheaper and offer a heck of a lot more equipment for the money. But that's because young me at the time didn't understand software and user experience at the time. But no, there were plenty of people that despise the iPhone 10. And I feel kind of bad for them because year after year they quickly started running out of options because everyone else started making their own iPhone 10 clone, and that's all that mattered. Look, gotta find a way to put a notch on this thing even if it doesn't integrate well into the software. Pixel. Oh, gotta remove them headphone jacks because, well, Apple did it, and it's selling. Even though they don't offer a great wireless earbud alternative like what Apple did.
And also, people mocked Apple for removing the headphone jack.
None of my family members have phones with a headphone jack anymore.
I have phones with a headphone jack, but they're not new ones.
I have phones with a headphone jack too, but they're also not new ones. But no one in this household is currently daily driving a smartphone with a headphone jack.
Imagine
and
if
I'm
somebody...
the only iPhone user in the house.
Imagine if a smartphone maker decided to bring back the headphone jack. Like, imagine if Apple, Samsung, or Google decided to bring it back.
There are still some phones out there that have it. I can't name any off the top of my head, but there are some out there that still have it. Like, I still think you actually can buy a Samsung with a headphone jack. It's just a budget phone, not a flagship. Because, well, I guess flagships aren't about cramming everything into a phone anymore. It's just about how high of a price can we charge while removing as much as possible these days. But, I mean, yeah, it is 2015 to 2018/2019, that was my favorite era right there when everyone was really trying to compete, showcase this is why you buy from us and no one else. And nowadays, it's either you buy an iPhone or you just buy a clone of it. It's like nobody cares anymore. And it's not even a sense from... I even get this sense from the community. Not even the Android community or the iPhone. The smartphone community in general, they almost don't feel like they care as much as they used to.
Yeah, like, there used to be feuds in the tech community between users of different brands.
Yeah. And it's not just between Apple and Android. It's also like Android people fighting over which brand is the best. Remember OnePlus?
Yeah.
It was always the big three that I remember. It was Samsung versus Google versus OnePlus.
Versus LG, too, remember? They were...
Oh, yeah, that's right. LG, once upon a time, was in the game.
Sony actually mattered in the early 2010s. Well, that was before 2015, but Sony actually mattered.
Not too much.
But still a little bit.
Yeah.
And... There's more.
But yeah, nowadays it feels like I'm mostly seeing iPhones. Occasionally, I'll find new Samsungs out there, but it's not that much. But no, the honest to goodness, the default Android smartphone I see nowadays,
this is a budget one.
Around here at least, it's Pixel. Never would have thought, but it's Pixel. And yeah, just this whole debate over who makes the best phone, it really isn't a thing anymore.
And I miss that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I remember arguing, does it really matter? Just pick the phone you like. But I don't know. I guess I took all of that for granted because, yeah, these days, nothing feels special anymore. It's all just iPhone or iPhone clone. And obviously, clones don't feel special. So,
Not even nothing the phone company feels special.
not even nothing. Nothing is so worth nothing these days. They came and, oh, yeah. I guess nothing was there. So, yeah, it's a shame where we're at today. The problem is people straight up do not care anymore, both in the community and the people actually making this stuff.
All right, well, shall I move on to the new
So-
framework laptop 16? Now, in terms of tech that's actually different, the framework laptop 16, a new one, has a replaceable GPU, and interestingly
Ooh.
enough, its most interesting part is that it comes with a 240 watt USB-C gallium nitride charger, which is more compact than traditional power bricks.
Oh yeah, I mean, our 140 watt MacBook chargers, those are gallium nitride chargers.
Oh,
Yep. Because let me
Okay,
tell you,
so-
if it wasn't, they'd be a lot bigger than what they currently are.
yeah. Well, gallium nitride it's a cool feature, and I'm glad that more companies are taking advantage of it. But yeah, the framework laptop 16, it's a cool laptop, but it just doesn't run Mac OS. So
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it can run Linux, which is leagues ahead of Windows in terms of
Yeah, it
stability
can.
at this point. But the problem is user friendliness. I'm sorry, guys, that's still debatable.
oh yeah,
Because again, if you need terminal for anything, I don't care what part of the operating system it is, be it installing apps, finding files, running things, opening stuff. I don't care. If you need terminal for anything, to do anything on this computer,
that's normal.
on this operating system, then no, it is not user friendly. Casual users do not understand terminal or terminal commands. And that's the giant disconnect that so many Linux users have when it comes to, oh, but no, it is user friendly. There's all these different distros like Ubuntu and who knows what else they have out there. I don't care because I'm not into Linux that much. What I do know is that for the most part, while they've been able to turn most things into a graphical user interface, which is user friendly, you still, on the occasion, will find yourself having to go into the terminal to do something that should be basic. And to the average Linux user, that's not a problem. But to the average Joe, that's a huge problem.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of Windows, I think this is a great segue into our next topic
Oh, gosh.
that you added.
Oh, I did add this one. So, Microsoft made a little oopsie again.
So this is as bad as disabling the CPU and the socket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I still can't believe Microsoft will allow you to disable your CPU. But, effectively what's happening, there's a bug going on right now where if you're doing too large of a data transfer, for whatever reason, your operating system drive, or whatever drive it is you're copying to, that will just disappear from Windows as if you never plugged it in the first place. So if you're copying things to an external hard drive or an external SSD, more specifically, if your file is too large, it'll just randomly disappear. Or the more important one, if you're copying anything large from an outside source to your internal SSD,
I can already feel it.
yeah, your OS drive disappears and instant blue screen.
How did this get by? I mean, I know how it's got by Microsoft because they don't care, but...
Yeah, if anyone needs a hint that Microsoft really doesn't give a crap about the quality of their software, there it is! Oh, I should test that with this PC. I really should.
No, actually, wait a second. You can reinstall Windows, so yeah, that's actually a great idea to test.
Well, you don't even need to do it. You just need to, like, hard power it down, and then it'll restart. You cannot soft reset. Like, the reason why people out there will claim that, oh, no, your drive's gone for good, it's because the computer's trying to soft reset itself. That's not what... You can't soft reset it. You have to physically unplug it, disconnect it from power the whole system down, and then restart it. And then your drive will show up again. So, yeah, it's not really the end of the world. It's just a very hilarious bug that they somehow managed to slip in.
That's somewhat relieving, I guess, but shall we move on to
the
our
OS
next?
will delete its own drive. That is hilarious.
Is Microsoft trying to make their operating system look bad so people will talk about it? Sometimes, now I'm wondering if that's the case.
I mean, these days you really do have to ask, is Microsoft trying, period, but... So, yeah, if your SSD randomly happens to disappear in your PC, just power the whole thing down and drain every residual power from the system. You don't need to clear the CMOS, though. You don't need to clear the BIOS. You just need to power the whole thing down and then restart it.
That's good to know. Shall we move on to our next topic, also about Microsoft?
Oh, what did they fail at this time, aside from aside from remembering an SSD exists?
This one isn't entirely Microsoft's fault. So, I'm not going to get into the sides of this for obvious reasons, but the political controversy behind this, but Microsoft's headquarters went into lockdown after pro-Palestine activists overtook President Brad Smith's office. Now, obviously I'm going to not do any comments about the actual or the pro-Palestine thing because that's way too controversial, but that's not the point of this topic. The point of this topic is to address, first of all, why are these activists in Microsoft? How are these activists get on Microsoft anyway?
Well, it's Windows. Like, you remember that one ad from the Hi, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC thing where, there's viruses everywhere after PC.
That's true. True, and I mean, granted, President
Yeah,
Brad Smith
the reason why is because Windows is the most popular platform. If you want to attack people, you go where the people are. So if you want to attack people's computers or people's operating systems, you use the operating system. You attack the operating system they're most likely to use, which is Windows, Microsoft.
Yep, That's exactly why I guess these activists are choosing to do that, because, I mean, they are effectively little viruses.
Yep. It's another reason you should switch to Mac, by the way, guys. There's a heck of a lot less viruses on this side of the fence.
I mean, I still do. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily feel bad for them. I don't know where I can feel bad for the Microsoft people, because at the same time, I mean, their headquarters still did get raided for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
But at the same
ultimately
time,
still, but no, yeah. Why attack Microsoft? Because
it
Microsoft
should be for their
controls so
operating
many people's
system
lives.
sucking.
Yeah, I mean, I still hate I have to use Windows to get paid.
Same.
I really do.
Or I mean, I don't use Windows, but yeah, I can understand that pain.
Yeah, you're lucky that your school at least makes you use iPads instead of Chromebooks or PCs or...
My school, I think, has gotten rid of almost all of its PCs at this point.
Oh, good. So they're catching on that, hey, PCs kind of suck.
Yep.
In my personal opinion, they really should have, like, one of everything. Like, PCs and Macs to... It shouldn't just be one operating system. I really think they should teach students how to use both.
I mean, one thing is that one advantage of boot camp is that boot camp would teach kids to use both if you could use old boot camp.
That is
Macs,
true.
Microsoft does both. Of course, Microsoft doesn't license out Windows for ARM on Macs anymore, so you can't do that.
Yeah, again, the reason why Apple lost boot camp abilities since Apple Silicon, it really isn't Apple's fault. They actually wanted to continue to use boot camp. The problem is Microsoft licensing Windows on ARM. That's why boot camp doesn't exist on our Apple Silicon Macs. No, I'm not complaining too much because I hate Windows and I'd like to keep my computer running reasonably, but I mean, I get the frustration, especially since developers just can't seem to figure out, hey, maybe we should support other operating systems instead of forcing everyone to use this one operating system that sucks something fierce. But, no, I really legit think that schools should actually be teaching students how to use both PC and Mac. Because ultimately they are different.
Yeah.
While you can accomplish the same stuff, like, honestly, I could be doing this Discord call and recording this whole thing. Well, okay, I need to put a GPU in that thing first. But if I had a proper GPU in that, then I could be doing it all on this thing. Just with the question of stability.
Exactly. I could be doing, with question of stability, I could be doing all this on Windows.
Yeah, I could be editing all my videos in Premiere or DaVinci Resolve on the PC. Again, if I had a GPU. Ultimately, I choose not to because I actually care about having a stable operating system. And fun fact, did you know that Adobe software actually runs better on macOS than it does Windows?
I'm not surprised.
Neither am I. So, yeah, they are ultimately different products, but I legit think that students should learn both sides, because if there's one thing that I don't think the internet or consumerism in general, or just people in general, have learned enough of, it's that you really should explore more than one option instead of remaining loyal to imagine if I remain so loyal to using Windows right now. Or Samsung.
You'd be miserable.
I would. Now, I'm kind of miserable with the iPhone experience, but that's because, well,
There's
Apple
no
kind of ruined it.
alternative.
And yeah, that's the thing. There is legit no other alternative. And I have considered alternatives before. I'm not even joking. I had considered pulling out the Pixel for the rest of 2025 because I was getting so fed up with iOS 18. But at the end of the day, this hardware still does what I need it to do, and I can't find another piece of hardware that can do it similarly. But I mean, just in general, like, what's another example? Oh, take Talon for example. My buddy Talon. He for whatever reason, I don't understand why, continues to buy Fords. Now, his little Ford Ranger, that was actually a pretty good truck. I'll give him credit for that. It was a good little truck, it was cheap, and it did exactly what he needed to do. But his F-150?
That did not do what
That
he
he
needed
had?
to do.
Oh, no, it did not. It was breaking down on him left and right. Costly repair
And
after
that was
costly repair.
And that was newer. than
Yeah,
the
that was a
Ranger.
2012 Ford F-150. And especially in the 2012 era, you were genuinely better off. And okay, this might be bias on my end because I've lived with GM products for most of my life.
Oh yeah, it
You were
definitely
probably
is.
better off buying a GMC Sierra or a Chevy Silverado. Those technically had the best engineering at the time. And the reason why I say that and not Dodge is because, well, or Ram, let's just say Chrysler cannot build an interior or a powertrain to save their lives.
No, they can't build any. They cannot build powertrains these days. I mean, GM can't really
They
build.
can build
that many.
performance powertrains. I'll give them that. They can build performance ones, but for their daily cars, like their minivans, their oh no, they could not build a powertrain to save their lives, nor an interior. So, honestly, yeah, if when it comes to engineering reliability, you were legit better off buying a Chevy or a GMC. And Talon has admitted he is very impressed with my Buick Stardust. He's very impressed with that car. But at the same time, he's still going to continue to buy Fords. He is that brand loyal to Fords, even though statistically they have shown to be less reliable than other brands like GM.
I mean, my dad's still Okay, so did I mention on the last episode how my dad's gonna have to sell his M6 because its transmission is
Yeah.
requiring an $8,000 repair.
Ouch.
So
Yep.
he's just gonna sell his 2016 M6, and he is seriously debating getting an early 2000s BMW M3. Now, I don't know if I've told you this story or not, but in November or December of 2015, my dad bought in late 2015, my dad bought a 2003 BMW 325i. That was manual. That car broke down on him at least multiple times when he was on road trips. And it broke down and it got us stranded once in January 2017. So he then decided to buy another BMW 325i, and this time for 2004 in November 2017. That one got us stranded all the way in August 2018, not that far from our house. And so finally, and my dad eventually sold that car to one of my mom's friends, and that car is no longer because it does not.
Yeah.
It completely stopped working. But my dad still wants to buy an early 2000s BMW almost a decade later.
I mean, in this instance, I'm not a fan of BMW's engineering, nor their design language in general. But for those who are obsessed with BMWs, it's because they offer a particular driving experience, which I'm sure is the reason why your dad wants one again.
Oh,
It just offers a driving experience that he likes. And to him, that's worth dealing with all of the breakdowns and the getting stranded on the side of the roads. And I mean, now effectively, you're an only child, right? Now that you're effectively turning into an adult and you're off on your own, you'll be off on your own basically. He doesn't have to worry about taking his kid to school or doing whatever. It's now it's free time, fun time for him.
Yeah. I mean, he still needs
So,
I mean, he technically... No, I can't. Or he works... My dad even works from home, so...
yeah, so at that point, it's fun time to him. So that's probably why he's getting back into it, even though he's going to have to deal with all the breakdowns and getting stranded. That's BMW owners for you. I don't know what else to say. But
now, I should also mention that my dad is... He isn't just considering BMWs. He is also considering possibly buying either an Audi RS5 or an Audi RS7 that would be a normal one from the late 2010s, early 2020s, I think. He has considered one of those, and he is considering a Porsche, some Porsches. He's considering those, and he's considering a... I don't know what Cadillac's equivalent to the Audi RS line is, but Dad is also considering one of those.
if I had to guess, it's the CTS.
Yeah, I think it is the CTS that he's considering. So we might actually be buying a GM car. My family might actually own a GM car for the first time in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there are some people who will remain so blindly brand loyal. And in the automotive industry, I can't think of anyone who's more blindly brand loyal than Toyota and Subaru drivers.
Yeah, I mean, Toyotas are awful vehicles.
I will give them credit that they used to have a very solid reputation on reliability.
Not anymore.
But that's the thing. They used to. They don't have it anymore, and they are quite behind in so many areas. And I have driven a Toyota before, albeit it was a Corolla, so it was a cheaper Toyota. But I was not impressed with how that car drove, and it was actually relatively well put together, supposedly. I did not enjoy the driving experience of that Toyota at all. And Subaru drivers, I don't get it. What is it that is so special about a Subaru?
It's because they advertise safety, but I mean, all Subarus really are is okay. First of all, their EVs are a joke. Don't buy a Subaru EV.
Well, that's because they're based on Toyota EVs, and Toyota EVs, well, those are a joke to begin with.
Yeah, and then Subaru, I mean, most of what they advertise here in North America is just their crossovers. And most of what I see driven in North America is just their crossovers and SUVs, which obviously, yeah, they're just average. No one, and then
Do they still sell the Legacy?
What's the Subaru Legacy?
That's their sedan.
They're foreign, so I think so. But I mean, their sports car. Okay, I can see the loyalty for that, since I mean that's not bad.
Well, when it comes to performance cars, yeah, you'll get the loyal diehards, and I'll get that. But...
They sell the Impreza and the Legacy, so again, they're foreign, so I kind of have to. And then they still sell the BRZ and the WRX, so they're very much. So, and there's actually one guy who lives around my neighborhood that drives a Subaru pickup truck. One of those really old Subaru pickups.
Oh, is it the Baja?
Let me look up Subaru pickup truck. I think so.
I think it's the Baja.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait a second.
But yeah,
The Baja might be coming back.
Oh gosh.
It's
Oh gosh. The Baja was not actually a good vehicle.
Let me go on Subaru's website and see if they're advertising this under the wilderness section. Subaru has some of the best No, they're not. No, okay. Subaru has some of the better websites of car companies, I will say. Most car companies don't have the best websites.
Yeah. But again, I don't understand the loyalty behind Subarus. And to me, it sounds so blind because I'm like, what is so special about Subaru that is keeping you from considering anyone else? What is so good about the Subaru that you can't get from anyone else? Nobody has told me anything.
I know and the people who are loyal to Subaru, they don't drive Subaru sports cars.
No, it's like Subaru Foresters or Outbacks or Crosstreks, whatever else they have. I don't understand what is so special about these vehicles. To be clear, there's a lot of stuff that GM makes that isn't special either.
Oh,
and I get that. I'm not even impressed with a lot of what's in GM's lineup right now, if I'm being honest.
Same.
I mean, they canceled my car, the one lineup that I cared about. So, yeah, I'm not even impressed with what GM's making, and that's why I'm not remaining so loyal to the point where I'm only buying GM stuff. No, my next one, assuming it's not a truck, it's gonna be a Tesla.
Same.
Because right now Tesla does not have any good trucks on the market.
I mean, Cybertruck is alright, but it's just expensive.
It's expensive, and it's the thing that it's also too big. It does not need to be as big as it is, and that is a common thing I've heard from most reviewers. For its capability, it's a lot bigger than it needs to be.
That's every pickup truck these days, though.
That is true. That's why I have a lot of interest in the Tello truck, which is that mini truck that I keep talking about.
Speaking of mini trucks, did I tell you that my dad is going to replace his F4 F-150 with one of those K-truck? Those Japanese K-trucks?
Oh, gosh.
Yep. I mean, that's going to be great. That's going to be great to drive. Now, granted, those trucks are great. Those trucks probably are great to drive because they're small and they get like 50 to 70 miles per gallon, depending.
That's true. That is true. I'll give it that. Yeah, for me, I'm still torn. Do I go for a Canyon Denali, or I've learned it's in the exact same budget. Do I go for a Cadillac Escalade? Top of the line version.
Is the Cadillac Escalade the truck?
Cadillac doesn't really make any trucks. It's more of a Yukon, a fancy Yukon.
I would do the Canyon if I were you, but that's just if it's gonna be more utility vehicle. Like that's what, like when I get older and have a 2-car fleet, my main plan is assuming my electrical business doesn't require me to have bigger trucks, because if I need bigger trucks, then obviously I'll just use one of the ones for my business. But assuming my electrical company won't require that, then I'll just use, which I have a feeling it might for electrical equipment, then then my plan is to have a 2-car fleet. And this is just me, not my spouse, but my plan is just to have a sedan and then a small pickup.
Yeah, that's probably be how I prefer to do it too. Just, I don't know, it'd be cool to have a Cadillac.
I mean,
Come on, Cadillac's got a stronger name than GMC Denali.
you know, why don't you just sell your Buick for a Cadillac?
Yeah,
Cadillac's down.
I've debated that in the past, but for me, the big thing is the fuel economy. I'm not going to find a Cadillac that will get that good a fuel economy.
So it's just fuel economy. I mean, it's only you're gonna be driving a Cadillac.
Yeah, it's just, dude, energy's expensive around here. My insurance is already as expensive AF. So it's just I'd consider it. The reason why I'm considering Escalade is this would be a vehicle I'd share with my mother. I would say we both of us right now really want to keep the Yukon because for her, the practical box. It's the box shape. There are times where she does need more than a trunk. And so she wants to keep the Yukon around for that type of thing. For me, my biggest interest in keeping the Yukon is I want a winter vehicle with ground clearance because otherwise my car is literally a sled.
Are you sure? Would you be able to still use it as a winter car if your mom uses it? Oh wait,
My mom has a new car.
Oh.
The Regal.
Yes. Yes, you should absolutely. You should absolutely get that Cadillac.
So yeah, that's the only other reason why I'm debating it. It's not just for me, it's also for I'd also share it with my mom to in theory help cut down on some of the costs. But I know at the same time the Yukon is falling apart because it's UP Michigan. It's an '04 Yukon Denali. So it's also kind of old too. But yeah, it's old, it's rusted, it's in really rough condition. Not as bad as my dad's pickup truck. Oh my gosh, that thing. How is that still on the road?
My friend Charlie, who was on my podcast, he drives an F350 it's either from the late 60s, early 70s, one of those decades, but that also doesn't have a bed on it.
Does it have a fully non-rusted frame?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole frame on the Sierra is completely rusted out. The cab is practically held on by chicken wire at this point. The engine is in desperate need of a tune-up. It doesn't just need an oil change or a new air filter. No, it needs to be torn apart and put back together. That's how bad of dire of a condition it's in. Oh, and as of right now, the U-joint is out on it, so it's not safe to drive.
When my dad and I went up north one time, he said, "No wonder why when the roads were so rough." We said, "No wonder why people go through cars so fast here."
Yeah, dude, well, it's a combination of Michigan roads being so poorly paved and then our winters. The salt just eats them. It's already eating its stardust. And I am so upset about that, but
we got way off topic.
It's not like we had a lot of topics to talk about in the first place.
That's true. We did get... Shall I go ahead and finish up these next two topics before we go back to more side tangents?
Sure. What's the next one?
So XAI is suing one of their engineers. I'm sorry for if I butcher this, but Juxian Lee over giving Grok secrets to OpenAI.
Zuchin?
Yeah, Zuchin.
Wow. Bad news for both parties. One's getting a lawsuit, the other's losing information. Remind
I
me
mean,
why I
anything-
should care.
Anything that destroys OpenAI, I'm good with.
Yeah, that's true. Then again, what about XAI?
Yeah, that too.
It's still AI. That's the problem. I mean, in general, though, like, I already mentioned in the last episode that the Garden of Cares has run a little dry. Well, guess what? It's after Labor Day. Harvesting season's over. There is 100% no cares left in that garden right now.
I don't know. Harvesting season hasn't really started yet in my area.
Oh, it's done here. Yeah, if you haven't harvested anything at this point, which I'm almost worried the cold's kind of ruined some of it, because it got cold way earlier than it should have. I hope that's not a sign for this winter, because if it, oh my gosh, is this winter gonna suck? UP Michigan, ladies and gentlemen. What are you gonna do about it? So, yep, that's what I have to say on that.
All right, shall I move on to Audi's Concept C EV?
Oh, God.
Alf, I wish Tabby was here to discuss this because he is livid about this.
Yeah, with Tabby being the biggest, talk about brand loyalty, with Tabby being the single biggest VW Group fan in our circle, oh, is he pissed about this concept?
I mean, it's like my dad when he first saw Mach-E on the road. How he got so mad because he's a big Mustang fan.
Yeah. This is worse though, because okay, for people listening to the audio version, I know you can't see this, but what I want you to do right now is Google a picture of Jaguar's EV concept.
I'll do that right now because I actually don't. I remember it a little bit, but
Yeah. Okay. You got a picture of Jaguar's EV the new concept of the Jaguar after the rebrand, that whole
that's
thing?
a
Okay.
copycat.
All right. Slap an Audi badge on that. There you go. That's the next generation Audi, ladies and gentlemen.
Isn't that'll be Audi's future design language starting in 2027? And isn't that already copying a Rolls? Hang on, let me go back to my Twitter to find this, since I'm pretty sure I found.
I sent it in the group chat, by the way.
No, I mean about Jaguars.
Oh, that.
Jaguar.
No, yeah, it was a while back. I mentioned that,
No,
yeah,
I'll find on
the
yours.
Jaguar looks like a worse version of a Rolls Royce.
Yes, and which shouldn't, because Jaguar is kind of expensive.
Yeah.
And they're fine with losing their customer base.
I guess so. But yeah,
apparently
basically take Jaguar's
iPhone
new
17
concept, slap an Audi
driving
badge on
is
it. That's
trending.
that's how bad this is.
Oh, it copied a Cadillac Celestiq at the front end of a Rolls Royce. That really is copying Cadillac. Oh my. And that's even worse. Do not buy a
on one
Concept
hand-
C.
Yeah. On one hand, I will point out my biggest disgust is not coming from the actual design aspect of it. My biggest disgust is coming from the whole Jaguar rebrand situation. It's not necessarily the design I hate. It's their marketing decision per se.
Oh, and they also chose to get rid of all their other vehicles because, of course, that's the right decision to do. Not.
So yeah. So yeah, for information, I'm not necessarily completely hating on the design just because of how it looks. I mean, in my opinion, it does look ugly. My actual thoughts on the design, I don't really like it. It's not awful. It's not completely heinous. It's not completely offensive, but the offense for me is coming from the way Jaguar had marketed the whole thing. That's where the offense comes from.
Let me look up Jaguar rebrand ad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch this. So.
It was described as a circus by so many publications. Oh, it was bad. It was a really bad rebrand.
What is?
Or are you watching the video? Dude,
Yeah,
play the video.
They're not showing the car. They're just showing people that look weird.
Yeah.
They're just showing people that look weird, not actual vehicles.
That's yeah, that's the thing. They showcased that before they actually unveiled the new design of the car. And it's like I'm trying so hard to say this without offending a bunch of people because I know I am legit offending some people right now as I am saying this.
Go right ahead.
I'm sorry, there's nothing normal about that, and that really disgusts me.
Same I mean, I'm not going to get too specific into why they marketed it that way, but yeah, like, same.
I'm sorry if you're offended, but that disgusts me.
Same, but...
So, yeah, that's the reason I'm very mad about the whole, not just the whole Jaguar rebrand at this point, but Audi's new concept. It looks so similar to that Jaguar concept. And Jaguar, for me at least, has done everything under the sun to completely destroy its reputation.
Have you ever watched the movie
Whatever
Speed by
reputation
chance?
it had left. So, what was that?
Have you ever watched the movie Speed by chance?
No,
Or
I
just
haven't.
Speed. But in that film, basically, like there's a scene when the main character needs to get a really fast car, and so he has to on one of the freeways in Los Angeles. There's a scene when he has to borrow a Jaguar, and that's a movie from the early 90s.
Oh, dude. Kiona Chev right now has a Jaguar on the lot.
I mean, my mom almost actually considered buying one earlier last year, and Crazy Ken from the Computer Clan, I believe he actually drives an '04 Jaguar.
That's a shocker. But
yeah, I wouldn't expect him to be a
Chev has
Jaguar.
one on the lot. I do not expect it to sell anytime soon. Especially for this general area where I live, this is more of on the political spectrum, a conservative area. And conservatives don't find, the people from that rebrand particularly, you can probably guess. I legit think they're going to have a hard time selling that Jag on the lot.
You think that's bad? They need to take that thing down south anywhere down south that's not the big cities, because the big cities do have a lot, because the big cities down south do have some liberals.
That's really where the highest concentrations are, down in the south. Otherwise, it's pretty much all conservatives.
Yeah. I mean, most of Virginia, even though Virginia always votes blue in the elections, that's just because there's so many people by DC that vote that way.
Their cities are more populated. Are more populated.
Most of Virginia is still red.
I mean, that's the same case with Michigan here, too. The concentrated blue areas are Lansing, Detroit, And then the UP surprisingly has one in Marquette.
I think a lot of people actually like to retire to Marquette, which is partially why. Or I mean, some.
I don't know. There's nothing appealing about Marquette to me other than the
No.
supercharger. But
And I mean, if they build an interstate there, then maybe, but. Because if they build an interstate through Marquette, then Marquette could possibly grow into a regional superpower.
I don't know. It's just I happen to know the mayor of that city by chance. I don't have a lot of faith. I don't.
Well, you know, the UP is the forgotten region. It's the forgotten, it's the ignored peninsula of Michigan.
Yeah. Yep. Nobody cares about us up here.
Except for
That's
you.
for certain. Dude, I'm trying to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I legit can't think of that many YouTubers from the UP. There's a handful, but I legit cannot think of that many YouTubers who actually live in the UP.
You're the only person I actually know who know from the UP. Well, I mean, you're technically from Wisconsin, but
Well, I was born in Wisconsin, but I basically have been raised in the UP my entire life. So, but no, yeah, I've lived in the UP my entire life, and I really hate it. I'd like to get out of here.
well, it seems like you're trapped up there. So
For the next little while, I don't know for how much longer, but someday I'll be putting a down payment on a house in North Carolina. Someday.
maybe I'll move to Canada instead.
Oh, dude, Canada's even worse right now.
Yes, yes, I know. I was joking.
Yeah, Talon's cousins, half of Talon's families actually lives in Canada. So his cousins have come to visit, and they're like, "Oh, thank God we're out of Canada right now." It's a bit of a nightmare up there too.
Another Yeah, no, I can't mention that, but yeah, that. Yeah, in Canada in Ontario you actually have to. No one up there can afford to buy houses, like because investment banks have effectively bought all the houses there and apartments there, so you effectively have to rent.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not living in Canada right now.
Same.
Strange to think how close I am to them and how many times I've gotten so close to that border. Every time we go downstate on I-75, we'll often see Canada plates coming from Sault Ste. Marie.
Even I see a few Canada plates on the interstates in my area.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, you see.
Whew.
Yeah, you go. You have been to Canada. Yeah, you've been to Canada.
For 10 minutes.
I have been to Canada because when I went to Europe this summer, I had layovers in Canada.
Yeah, you had your layovers. I've only been into Canada just for the Soo Locks tour, where yes, we technically crossed the Canadian border for 10 minutes, and then we went straight back to Michigan.
Did you have to have a passport
No.
for that?
No, it's a Soo Locks tour.
Ah, that's actually kind of cool. You don't need a passport for that, since I mean, long ago
Well, that's because the boat returns to Michigan.
Ah.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
it's not like taxiing you over from Michigan to Canada. You're starting in Michigan and you loop. Part of that loop does take you into Canada for a bit, but you never dock in Canada.
Ah, that makes sense. That's probably how come
So-
American citizens can fly to Alaska without a passport, even though they're going over Canada.
Yeah.
Although a long time ago, Americans did, until I don't remember when they made this law, but Americans didn't used to need a passport to go into Canada, and Canadians didn't used to have a passport to go to the United States.
Yeah, we had a lot healthier of a relationship once upon a time where, like, you could even just drive in the USA without needing a specific US license. You just need your Canadian license, your Canadian registration. You could just drive as if it's like traveling between different states, though you're technically traveling internationally.
Even nowadays, I don't know how it is for Canadians coming to the U.S., but I know if you go into Canada, you don't have to have a special driver's license if you're American, as long as you have.
You actually do. You do. There is something technical about it. What is it?
Driving in Canada is
blurred. This will have to get blurred or cut or something, but I'll show you what it is. So yeah, viewers are not allowed to see this because this is my actual driver's license. But do you see that?
Yes, that is
star. If you do not have that star on your license, that's what will cause the problems.
If you have that star, then you can because this is the.
If you do have the star, then you. Yeah, if you do have the star, then I believe you do not need the passport. Or something along those lines. You will have easier entry into Canada if you have the star on your license like that.
If you have real. If you have real ID, then you still have to have a passport, but if you have a real ID, then you probably don't need a special license.
Yeah, most likely. I think that star is what would technically allow me to drive a car in Canada, for example.
That star can be. You don't have to get that if you have a passport though, because the passport does the same thing. So.
Well, I would think. I don't know. I'm not an expert in traveling internationally. It's just I know the star on your license makes a difference. So.
Yeah, it does for domestic things, but that's driving in Canada, which is surprisingly very similar to the United States.
Just gotta translate miles to kilometers.
I think one reason, Canada used to use miles.
I thought they've always been kilometers, but I wouldn't be shocked if they used miles at some point.
Yeah, they used to use miles until 1974 because they were colonized by the UK, and the UK uses miles.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how the UK, despite literally every other measurement item they measure is in the metric system, and yet for measuring distance, they still use imperial.
For yards and miles, yeah, they do. In Canada, they'll use inches. They use inches in Canada, but for some reason, Canada refuses to use miles.
Yeah. Yeah, not sure what the discrepancy is there. It's just a nightmare for the drivers.
I think legally in North America, you have to have an option to change the speedometer from miles to kilometers.
Oh, every car does that. I don't know a car that doesn't.
Yeah, so I think that might be one reason for the Border Patrols. Because
I mean, legit, it doesn't matter where you are. Every car does that.
I know that makes sense, but I imagine one thing they ask you at the Canadian Border Patrol is U.S.-Canada Border Control is they probably do check to make sure your car is set to the other system.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll ask you to, if your car lists both in the speedometer, which are older GM vehicles have both miles and kilometers in the speedometer, so you don't need to change anything. You're all set to go.
Yeah.
But in newer cars, at least, no, you have to go into settings and change it from metric to US or vice versa, depending on which way you're going.
In my car, that would be kind of a nightmare since its original head unit was taken out. So now I don't even know if I could change my car kilometers, so I just have to. So if I drove into Canada, I'd have to wing the
You
speeds.
can't
and
do it in the
I'd
gauge
have to
cluster?
Nope, I don't. Nope, my gauge cluster is literally. It's part like the actual. It only has one gauge cluster, and you can. And I'm sure you can change it in settings with its original head unit, but that because my head unit has been replaced, it doesn't have. It probably wouldn't work. So I'll actually have to toy around with that. But yeah, my car might. I might not. I might. I mean, I could probably drive in Canada, but I'll just have to. I'll just have to know how to convert between miles and kilometers really well. Like I'll have to understand.
What's the change? It's like 1.6. Is that the conversion factor?
Nope.
60
100
miles is 100 kilometers.
62 miles. But Canada
What's
puts
the
on
actual
their
rate?
points. 1 kilometer is 0.62 miles.
Oops. Oh yeah, and if I flip. Oops. So yeah, 1 mile is about 1.6 kilometers.
Yeah, so I'll just have to. Yeah, I could. Yeah, but also, Canada's speed limits are a lot lower than the United States. That's another thing about driving in Canada.
Snow and ice.
And also, they don't have
It's
freeways
because of
like
snow
we
and
do.
ice. I'm sure if you get on the freeways, they'll be relatively similar to here,
No.
but
No, they're not.
no, it's snow and ice. Snow and ice. That is the reason why they're slower. It's like the speed limits here in the UP should be a heck of a lot faster than what they're currently at. Like there are some that are 65 miles an hour, but other than that, like especially if you're trying to get out of Houghton, it's 55 in so many directions. It's like, dude, that's way too freaking slow. I mean, I went to Sheboygan, Wisconsin last weekend, and the majority of the stretch between Iron Mountain. Well, actually, no, let me think. No, it's from all the way in Covington. Yeah, it's from Covington until you finally get to the divided highway just after Crivets. That's like how many hours, how many miles of 55 miles an hour? And from Iron Mountain to Crivets, that's straight. No twists, no turns. There is no reason why you should be afraid of snow and ice there. And yet, speed limit's 55. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's a little bit of not good. That's not good. But on Canada's freeways, I actually have done just research on this. But on most of Ontario's freeways, the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour, which is 62 miles an hour. And then in Quebec, I believe it's also 100 kilometers an hour, although they also don't really have freeways up there except around Montreal and Quebec City. And then once you get out to, like, there's one highway in British Columbia that apparently has the equivalent of 120 kilometers an hour. I'm not sure
That's
about
close to
that.
like 70-ish miles an hour.
74, somewhere around there.
Oh,
And then
even better.
there's some like in Alberta, I think it's 110, which is 68.
In Alberta? Dude, Alberta's in the Rockies.
I don't know. I haven't done that much research, but again, most of Canada is not freeways. Most of Canada is expressways. So
yeah, it's either we're talking like UP style back roads for your highways or not interstate levels of freeways.
yeah, because
I don't. Can you call them what is divided highway? That's their technical term. They're just
expressway is a technical term. Yeah,
So-
despite the fact that Canadians pay much higher taxes than we do, they don't have a proper a proper equivalent to interstate highway system.
Well, keep in mind they got to keep it plowed and all that, and salted, and whatever they need to do to keep the roads maintained. Which, I mean, I've been telling you, my winters are brutal here. Dude, there's a whole country north of me.
I mean, okay, I understand why northern Canada doesn't really have freeways because northern Canada is too rural.
Yeah.
But southern Canada, I mean, like don't you think there should be a cross-country freeway from Vancouver all the way to Halifax or something like somewhere on Canada's east coast?
One would think, but nope, there's not.
I mean, there is the Trans-Canada Highway that exists, but there are some parts of it in Ontario, especially where you get on it and it's just 2 lanes, one of the main roads in Canada. That's why a lot of Canadians like to go into the United States, actually, if they're driving from western to eastern Canada.
Because, yeah, we got freeways that you can take full advantage of, especially if you dip into Montana. Their speed limit's like 80 miles an hour.
Unless you're driving a truck, that's 70.
Okay, true, but if you're not driving a truck, then yeah, it's like 80 miles an hour. And North Dakota is the same. If
No,
not, then it's 75.
North Dakota is 75. South Dakota is 80.
Ah, that's right. Okay.
Utah is also 80.
That's insane, especially going through the Utah mountains.
On parts of I-10, I-20, I assume once they build 27 in Texas, but once you get out into West Texas, then most of that is 80. East and Central Texas are 75 though. And no, you're not. And cops will write you ticket. Like there was one driver who was driving on a 82 and a 75, and he did get pulled over for that. So, just FYI, Texas is pretty harsh about speeding.
Mm-hmm. Well, I learned DC isn't. My goodness, are those people flying down those freeways?
Yeah, why do they lower the speed limits again?
No, in general, their cops there, they really do not give a crap. I've learned.
I mean, even in Salt Lake City, you can still go 70 miles an hour on the interstate. It's like, no, that's actually the actual speed limit in Salt Lake City.
I mean, there's plenty of other cities that I've gone through on the interstate that are that fast too, like Saginaw, Bay City. Yeah, you're doing 70 miles an hour on those interstates.
Yeah. Oh, Michigan
Ann
is
Arbor, same thing.
Michigan is weirdly the exception of that, and Lexington, Kentucky, that's 70. Madison, Wisconsin, that's also 70, I believe.
If I recall, if you take the bypasses in Louisville, that's also 70.
Nope, that's 65.
That's 65? I thought it was 70.
Nope, it's 60.
Well, oh, wait, no. I was driving 70. That's why.
Oh, yeah. No one pays attention to this. No one pays attention to the 65 mile per hour limit on those, but peak traffic is all going faster or slower. But yeah, the limits on that is 65. What are cities that you can go? All of North Carolina has beltways around their big cities. The beltways themselves are posted at 70 miles an hour.
You're talking like those
I-40,
like
I-485, 840/85 and 73, and then
because
NC
240 is 60.
That's because it's in the mountains, but like the beltways out, and once you get to central and eastern North Carolina, those are fast. Or the 840, 73 and 85 around Greensboro, 485 around Charlotte. What's the other one?
That's another thing too. North Carolina drivers, they drive like there's no tomorrow.
What's the other? Oh, and I 540 slash NC 540. That's also 70. So there's that. Where, yeah, North Carolina's beltways are 70, but they actually drop it to like 55. There are several states that drop it to 60 actually in the cities. Like Houston, Texas has a 60-mile-per-hour speed limit instead of 55. Right.
That's most of them, especially because those are designed a lot for commuter traffic, and so it seems to be a bit of a standard in a sense. So when they don't follow 60 miles an hour, I don't know what the reason for deviating from it is, but if the point of those sections is to also be used for commuter traffic, that's when they dip it down to 60 miles an hour.
I mean, Mississippi also never drops to 55. They just drop to 60 in. Jackson, obviously. Meridian, weirdly enough, even though that's largely just because their exits are just kind of close together in that, even though they probably could do 70 and they're just fine. And this is funny. So Hattiesburg is 70, even though it's the 5th largest city there and the 3rd largest independent metro. Mississippi.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then I believe Gulfport and Biloxi, which is the 2nd largest metropolitan area in Mississippi, that I believe on I-10 through there, that's also 70. I believe. I haven't checked that though. And then this is going to be so Vicksburg, Mississippi is 60. Have you ever even heard of Vicksburg?
Once.
I mean, okay, that is where a very significant Civil War battle happened that basically did it in for the Confederacy.
That probably might be the only reason why I've heard of Vicksburg. Other than that, I don't know. I need to study my geography a little more.
Vicksburg probably.
I think I'm a bit out of shape.
Yeah, Vicksburg probably could do 70, but yeah, there's the. What are some other? In Columbus, Georgia, the speed limit on I-185 there is 70. Although through Atlanta and Augusta, well, obviously on I-285 around Atlanta, the speed limit's 6. No, not. I mean, people drive 80 a lot more than 85, but the
yeah,
speed
that's
limit on
the
that's
thing. 65.
And then through Augusta, I-29, 520 are both 65. And then through downtown Macon, the speed limit on I-75 is 55, but you can go around it on 475 at 70. Where else can you go? Where else can you go 70 or higher? Parts of I-4 or parts of no, not I-470. Parts of 470 around Denver. That's 75.
Do I want to know how you know all this stuff?
I have done lots of research on this.
Clearly.
I mean, even I-405 in Los Angeles is somehow still 65. Trucks are obviously 55 there because that's statewide, but
Yeah.
now I don't know how often. I mean, now apparently I-405 is clearing out, but I don't know how often traffic got to those speeds, but got up to 65, but that is the limit. I can't really think of any other 70-mile. I mean, oh right, in Massachusetts, like through Springfield and Worcester on I-90, the speed limits there stay at 65, which Massachusetts does not post 70. Like most Northeast states.
That reminds me, I still haven't paid for everything on the trip yet. I gotta wait for those tolls to come in the mail.
All right.
Because I don't have the Easy Pass thing, so I have to wait for the tolls to come in for the mail. I didn't get my Kentucky ones until almost a year later. Though, yeah, I thought you were allowed like 2 passes once to get through the state, and then once when you're coming back home. But no, apparently I did my research, and no, it was a legit toll from the state of Kentucky going through Louisville.
I mean, one of my relatives actually got billed for crossing I-64, which isn't supposed to be a toll bridge.
I don't know, but that was a legit toll. So thankfully it was cheap. It was only like $10. It's like Mackinac Bridge is like $8, so I'm like, I don't care. So.
I personally think toll roads are a bit of an antitrust in some cases, because they effectively use the fact that there's no competition to charge higher prices. Like Mackinac Bridge is a great example of like you could actually count that as antitrust.
Dude, they need the funds to keep the
No,
bridge going.
No, they aren't. Michigan's taxes so high already. They can just divert their money from their stupid stuff and put it towards the Mackinac Bridge. And no, sorry, Mackinac. They need to change the official pronunciation of that. But they could just put the money towards the bridge. And actually paving their roads. That's another thing. And then building freeways in the UP. That's another thing.
The thing is that with the toll system, that is dedicated money that is supposed to go to the bridge. That's not for... that money can't go elsewhere. It's dedicated money that goes to the bridge. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely hate our particular state government. It frustrates me to no end that they can't figure out their budgeting. But also, that bridge is extremely important to the state's economy. Maybe not necessarily the UP's, but the Lower Peninsula. It is a very important bridge to connect us to Canada, even if you still have to go a little further than Canada. But it is still a very important piece of infrastructure, to the point where, I'm sorry, the tolls there, it's justified. It really is. I don't care if... Yeah, okay, pricing, what was it set at? The pricing hasn't changed in years. Even with inflation going up year over year, the pricing on that bridge is the exact same as it was 20 years ago. At least that's what I can recall, since I'm in my early 20s. So
that is fine, granted, but still, like, it's still like they should make that free, but it's not I don't live in Michigan, and I have no plans of moving there.
Yeah, for reference, guys, the price is for residential normal drivers. It's $2 per axle, so that typically translates to $4 a car. Commercial, it's a little different. I don't remember the exact pricing situation for that, but at least for normal drivers like you and me, non-commercial, it's $2 an axle. So it's $4 a car, and if you're towing a trailer, then it's how many axles. Add the axles of your trailer, and that's it. And this is how it's been for at least over 20 years. So, I don't know, is the Mackinac Bridge a good example? Because, for one, that's actually fairly cheap for tolls, and two, it hasn't changed in how many years?
Yeah, it is a good example, because it's literally the only bridge, and they're taking advantage of it when they could easily make that bridge free.
They do have ferries, by the way.
Why would anybody take a ferry across that area? I mean, I get
Labor Day. They shut down the bridge on Labor Day.
What? Are you serious?
Labor Day parade. Yeah. Have you heard of the Mackinac Bridge Walk on Labor Day?
How stupid! How stupid is that? So it's in fact that's a violation of the interstate highway system to require traffic to go on ferries. Technically that bridge is US.
The bridge has always been an interstate violation, dude.
Technically that bridge is US 31 and 23, although they don't sign it as such. Maybe they should get that bridge up to
interstate. Actually ends in Mackinac City.
They sign it that way, but technically, according to AASHTO, the firm that actually oversees all the rules, because of the Mackinac Bridge, it still technically ends at Route 2.
Either way, still, yeah, they shut down the bridge once for Labor Day. They do a bridge walk.
I actually think they should. I actually have toyed around with the idea that they should possibly consider building a second bridge across, or in that same general vicinity, dedicated. That would be up to interstate standards, and then re-sign the old bridge as Route 31.
I don't know where they do it though, because I can't think of a more ideal location than where the Mackinac Bridge is. Because if they were to build a whole new one, that's gonna be even more expensive than the Mackinac Bridge, and that's gonna be more expensive infrastructure to maintain.
They could just do it right. I meant like right next to it, the current Mackinac Bridge.
There is no place to do it right next to it.
Yes, there is.
There's a historic site to the west, and then you got city to the east.
Oh.
Yeah. There is no other place to put another bridge without making it any extra expensive than what it would already cost. So I don't see how they could do it.
Okay, that's probably valid.
So yeah, that's why they still run the ferries.
Well, I mean, a lot of people actually post on social media about how they should build a bridge in between the Lower Peninsula and then Wisconsin. But at the same time,
That
you
would
just
not be
can't.
possible.
No, because of the winds.
Yeah, that's just not possible. That and how they have no idea how deep Lake Michigan is.
Yeah.
That's another thing to consider. The reason for the Mackinac Bridge's positioning, it's a narrow strait. That is very useful geography, because if the water's so deep, then you have to. Your support structure has to go somewhere. Okay, it's like, do you remember my road trip video I did in the Tesla with Tabby?
Yeah.
The bridge in Maryland that we drove across. That was like across, what was it? Was it the Chesapeake? I think that's the bay we crossed.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind how that bridge is still standing.
The Atlantic Ocean, to be fair, is more stable than the UP, but if they were to build a bridge across Lake Michigan, they would have to, first of all, it would have to be floating. There's no way around it. And then they'd have to do some very clever engineering to fight the winds on the Great Lakes, which...
And the tides. It's
Yep.
a large body of water. It's still affected by the tides.
Yeah, I mean, have you by chance listened to The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot?
Many times. Yep, many times I've heard that song.
Makes sense, because that's probably a big thing in your region, but I mean,
Yeah.
that was just that incident he wrote that song based off of was because the winds of November came too early, and that resulted in
Yep.
to where they couldn't be fed. The men could not be fed, and they all died.
Yep, it took the boat down.
They still run boats
Yeah.
through Lake Michigan to this day. Or no, wait, the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, that was Lake Superior.
Yeah, that was on Lake Superior, not
Yeah.
Lake Michigan.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
yeah, they're
Lake-
still running ferries.
Lake
My
Michigan.
cousin met her boyfriend going to college up here, and over the summer, apparently the boyfriend lives downstate, but my cousin lives in Wisconsin, so she's been taking the ferry across to see her boyfriend over the summer.
That's like a 2.5 hour boat ride.
Well, it depends on which ferry you go. I hear that there's a fast one and a slow one.
Okay, I must be thinking of a slow one. Yeah, the fast one. The fast one must be
No, I
faster.
think the fast one is about 2.5 hours.
Oh,
That does sound about right.
right. Boats are slow. Yeah, that seems like a
Also,
long
keep
way
in
to
mind
go.
it's over 100 miles you got to travel across.
I mean, that is valid. If it was possible to build a bridge across the UP, across Lake Michigan, then that would be different. But
Yeah, but I mean, like again, you're talking like an over 100-mile long bridge that does not exist
Yes,
anywhere.
there is a bridge in China that's 112 miles.
112 miles.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Yes, that is a Yes, there are bridges that are miles long.
There's a reason why there aren't many of them.
I mean, there's like a there's like a 19 the longest bridge in the continental United States, I'm pretty sure has to be that bridge over Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. You know what bridge I'm talking about?
I do not actually.
So in New Orleans, there's this toll bridge that. So you know how Louisiana there's the big Lake Pontchartrain that New Orleans is right by.
Let me pull it up on the map here.
If you go
If my
like
internet
like
is
yeah,
fast enough.
I-10 dips south to go around to Lake Pontchartrain to go through New Orleans. Well, I-12 keeps following a straight path from Baton Rouge to get to Slidell. But across Lake Pontchartrain, which is like 20 some miles from downtown New Orleans, where there is an Apple store, there's the Causeway bridge that you can take, which is from basically I gotta go through a few stoplights and whatnot on I-10, and then you take that bridge up to Manville.
Oh, is that just going
yeah.
through the middle of the lake?
Yep. Yes. Now, granted, I believe
What?
I'm pretty sure Lake Pontchartrain is tamer than the Great Lakes, but
Well, except during hurricane season.
yeah, that's true. Although I've actually found that, contrary to popular belief, the Carolinas are actually the most vulnerable to hurricanes, like the Carolina coast.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the mountains area, which was the whole reason. Well, part of the reason why I wanted to move into the North Carolina mountains is, well, I don't want to deal with hurricanes. But yeah, it was very unusual. How did that hurricane get there?
That's
That
a
is
100,000.
so unusual.
That is 100,000 year flood, which means, in other words, floods like that only happen every 100,000 years. And of course, that region is very prone to landslides, so which they had to shut down I-40 again through the Tennessee North Carolina line for that.
Yeah, that. I hear they shut that down a lot, but
Yeah, they shut.
finally came back online a few months ago, from what I saw.
Yeah, I-40 is that part of I-40 is back.
That was one of my favorite stretches too, driving into North Carolina. I loved that I-40 stretch.
Yeah.
I miss it already.
Well, it's changed, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot has changed. People there probably are still crazy, and well, I wouldn't know. I didn't interact too much with the people. I'm still so shocked. Just in general, how nice people treat you in the South.
Welcome.
Because that is just, yeah, that is just not a thing here. Up here, nobody holds the door open for you. Nobody cares if they're blocking you from leaving your parking spot. Nobody cares up here. And that was such a weird feeling when I got to the South, just how nice people actually treat you down there.
Exactly, for that Tacoma that I ran into that was blocking 3 parking spots. That's very unusual, and that driver was an immigrant. So
Yeah, just in general, people here in the Midwest, yeah, you don't get friendly vibes up here like you do in the South.
most of my relatives are actually from the Midwest, and like even my mom. I'm not gonna say where in the Midwest my mom's from, but But when I told my mom, but like whenever I talk to my Midwest relatives about the parking spots and stuff at Tacoma, they blame it entirely on me because that Tacoma was not moving, which, okay, technically for insurance reasons, that's correct. However, that Tacoma blocking 3 parking spots that was parked in an unusual space.
It was still a jerk move on their part. Yeah.
Yeah, like like worst case, like I'm honestly kind of glad I hit that guy because that guy should have won. Because that guy, me hitting that guy, I taught him a lesson that hey, you don't block 3 parking spots like that. And it was already a dinged up old truck anyway, so.
Well, did it really teach him a lesson then if the truck was all dinged up? Because here's the thing: if it wasn't a dinged up truck and it was a nice, shiny pavement princess truck, that would have taught him the lesson.
Well, he pulled into a parking spot afterwards.
Because yeah, I mean, there's like let's take. I have been in an accident in one of my personal vehicles before. That is a video on one of my channels, the Drive channel. That was with Red Fox. Now with that car, piece of junk. It gets hit. It's like the car is already this far gone. Is there too much of a reason to be mad? Because I mean, like, okay, all I got was a puncture mark in the grill. I was a bit upset because it was my first car and such, well, that was a particularly bad moment to have gotten in an accident. I was running late to stream a funeral. That was when the whole event happened, so I was miffed because of that. Because now I ran even more late because now I got to deal with the guy as I'm running late. It's just so. But yeah. Ultimately, it was already a piece of junk car. I really didn't care to get it fixed because the car was already that far gone. Now, if this happened in Stardust...
Different story.
That would be a real different story. And I would have gotten insurance involved.
Yeah, makes sense. And I mean,
well,
even my car, I mean, I'm frustrated that I hit that guy, but at the same time, I did the best I could.
Yeah, if it was Stardust that got hit, I mean, thankfully the guy who hit me, super calm. I felt a little bad because he was a military vet, and that type of situation, they've already been stressed enough. It's like you really don't want to stress them more. But super chill. He was actually willing to pay to fix whatever he broke out of pocket. It's just at that point I told him, dude, the car's too far gone. It really doesn't matter. Now if the radiator was punctured, then yeah, I'd be asking for money to get that fixed because punctured radiator means no cooling for the engine, and that's bad, obviously. So,
yeah.
But no, all it was cosmetic damage. But no, if Stardust were to get cosmetic damage because she's in such new condition, no, I would be totally trying to get her back into as good of new condition as possible.
Same, but
Red Fox was the car you didn't care about because she was already that far gone. Stardust is my pavement princess.
That's a valid point. And one other point I just want to mention as you drive further down south is beware of immigrant drivers. Beware of them.
Yeah. No, I've dealt with an immigrant driver driving in a van on the way back. Just, I don't understand what that guy is. It's just okay. So I'm locked in at 60 miles an hour. I believe the speed limit's 55 through that stretch. This is the I-40 stretch, the beautiful stretch that I'm talking about. I'm locked in at 60 miles an hour on cruise, pretty much just in the left lane. So I'm taking the twists and the turns, and never once am I shutting off cruise, never once am I braking unless there's a car ahead of me that needs to slow down or whatever. This guy in this van, I don't know what his deal was, but every slight straightaway, he would come up and pass me, flying at 65, 70-ish, somewhere around there, But the second he hits a corner, he instantly is braking and doing close to 30 miles an hour to take the turn. Every single time.
That guy is definitely not from the Appalachian era, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's from a foreign country.
I would not have been shocked with how he drove, but it was infuriating for me because I'm locked on cruise. I'm trying to stay locked on cruise, which really helped me watch out for that guy, to be honest. But no, it's just the entire time I'm thinking, dude, if you can't handle it, then don't drive that fast. You're clearly not capable of handling these turns, so don't drive that fast. I could. Stardust took those turns like... She made him look easy. And she's not his performance car. But, no, she made those turns look so easy. But that van made it look like they were so impossible. You'd have to slow down.
Yeah, that's... And most of these immigrant drivers, from where my dad lives, there's a lot of immigrant drivers there. And where he lives, the immigrants always drive start with bigger vehicles too, even though they've never driven. Which
that's another
in itself is a mistake.
When you put them in bigger vehicles, does that get interesting real quick?
Yeah,
because they're so used to their America is weird with all of our big vehicles, and yet all of Europe, all of Australia. I'm not going to necessarily say Africa because their car market is very small and it's mostly made up of utilitarian vehicles. But no, the majority of cars outside of America, they're smaller and designed for tighter streets. Not here. They are so much bigger. I mean, it's interesting to watch Tabby drive a truck for the first time. What the Cybertruck thing? That was not just Tabby's first time driving the Cybertruck. That was his first time driving a truck. Period.
Even I've done that before.
Yeah. I mean, I learned to drive in a pickup truck, and I still hate it.
Makes sense, but in other news, it is 8:02 p.m. Central, so shall I go ahead and end the show now because I actually do have a video I need to script about the iPhone 6s.
Oh, I did not realize the time. Yeah, probably should. I don't know. I was kind of hoping Tabby would join, though. I guess he got busy. I don't know with what.
All right.
But
as always, thank you all for tuning into our episode of iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha. With a
and as always, we're saying
this time, if anyone noticed.
And as always, we're saying peace. I didn't, but as always, we're saying peace out for now, and we hope to see you all in the next episode when the iPhone 17 lineup will be officially announced. Hopefully,
I am not
Take
excited
care, everybody.
for that.